Welcome, class. This is your professor, Dr. Jason Finley, and I thought I would create this short introductory video for you guys to get started during your first week. So the very first thing I want to show you is Canvas. This is what your Canvas homepage will look like. Right now I'm in student view, so it might look a little different from what you are looking at during the first week or maybe before the first week. I have class information on the home page, and if you scroll down, I have a couple of other pieces of information such as emailing, office hours, my faculty website, etc. I also have a note here that I like to organize Canvas through modules. So I'm going to take you through some of the modules that are open, or at least should be open, by the beginning of the first week. So I have to leave student view. And let's go to the announcements, which is over here. So as you can tell, I sent out quite a few announcements before the first week. The first announcement talked about the textbook. And I want to talk a little bit more about this. So several years ago, I customized a version of the Severe and Hazardous Weather book. Now, this was done back in 2013, and I don't think there are any of these left. So what the bookstore is doing now is it's holding, hopefully, 5th edition textbooks, which are not customized. But you guys are more than welcome to find a cheaper version, especially if it's an older edition like the 4th edition or even the 3rd edition will be fine. These are very important for the second week of class and very, very crucial for our first textbook reflection assignment that I will open up in week 5. Okay. The next announcement is an official welcome to severe and hazardous weather. And I put this information in here to show you when class will start. I gave you some information on how to get to Canvas. But also, let's take a look at that letter. So that letter is attached here to the announcement. And I also have it attached in the modules within Canvas. So the welcome letter looks like this. And I talked just a little bit about what severe weather and hazardous weather really is. And I like to use pretty cool pictures. Severe weather is really my specialty within meteorology, so I have an immense passion for the subject. In addition, like most online courses, I talk about when it starts, when it stops, how much work you might be expected to put into this course. I talk a little bit more about the textbook. I organize my course into 4 main sections so that it's better to have this organized in this manner because it's an online course. Basically, at the end of each of these sections is an exam. And most assignments will be due on Fridays. There are a few exceptions that I talk about in here. The very first assignment, which is due Friday, February 14th at 11:55 p.m., is extremely crucial to get done on time. This assignment allows me to see who wants to be in this class. Those people who don't do this assignment will be dropped from the course. And if you continue to read, I have more information about Canvas, a little bit more about how online classes work, especially if you are new to online courses. If you need to contact special services, I've given you a contact for this, and etc., etc. So please read this very carefully, and there is going to be other PDFs with other announcements. So let's go ahead and go to the next announcement. So the next announcement, by the way, your list of announcements might be in reverse. For some reason, for instructors, announcements are structured just a little bit differently. So the next one is about the syllabus. I click here, and I talk about why I do what I do when it comes to the syllabus. And I also want to mention here, during week 2, we're going to have a syllabus quiz. So let's take a look at the syllabus. So the syllabus is a contract, and I put a lot of stuff in this so that you guys have a sort of a one-stop shop for a lot of your information. In fact, some of the information that I put in a different PDF, like course policies and attendance, are also in the syllabus. So the first page is, I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. The first page is information about the course, my email address, things I want you to do if you do email me, my office hours, class information, and textbook resources. On page 2, I get into the description of the course. Basically, we're going to spend about half the class with basics of weather and climate, and then the second half of the class we'll be talking about specific severe and hazardous weather events. I also want to mention here that this is a college science course, so this course is geared for science majors, especially if you're a geography or meteorology major, but there are also a considerable number of non-science majors, and so if you are having trouble with this class, especially if it's because it's a science class, please let me know as soon as possible. And the last 3 pages also talk about that. Student learning outcomes is something that we'll get into a little bit later. I also have class policies and my class philosophy. We'll talk more about that in a separate announcement. So I have this information in here. I also have a little bit of information on email etiquette. Bottom line, I will ignore rude emails. Drop policies are here just in case you want to drop the class before February 23rd so you can get a refund. What happens if you don't finish the or complete the first assignment on time. My late work policies, again, take a look at that. I do not allow late work for most assignments. So it's a really good idea to not wait to the last minute, especially if your computer crashes, if your internet goes down, etc., etc. Now there are a few exceptions if in case you're in an extreme personal situation, and I've listed that information here on this page. And that's page 4. Starting on page 5, I talk more about the grades and what kind of assignments you're going to do. So you could take a look at the grading scale. And essentially this course will consist of 3 midterm exams, 1 final exam at the end of the course, and several homework assignments, quizzes, and a possible field trip. When we get into the schedule, you'll see a little bit more about what those homework assignments consist of. There will be some extra credit. I just don't know what that is yet. And I talk again a little bit more about withdrawals. Basically, if you want to drop the class before February 23rd, you'll get a refund. But if you drop the class before May 10th, you'll get a W on your transcripts. Okay, so page 6, 7, and 8 go through a schedule. Again, I like to organize my online courses through this 4-week structure where we have 4 4-week units. And I just want you to keep in mind, it might seem like a lot to read for chapters 1 through 5, but if you look at this book, the chapters are quite short. And I don't cover every single thing in a chapter. So what I usually tell students is to go ahead and take a look at the lectures, especially the videos, and if you want the actual lecture slides as PDF files, and then go into the book and read the sections in the book that I cover in the lectures. So you might want to write down some of these important dates, again on page 6, 7, and 8. I talk here why I don't change grades unless there's an instructor error, what happens if you cheat, which is talked about a lot more in pages 10 and 11. And then a few notes about this online course. Again, I use units to divide the class into 4 parts. Most of the assignments are due on Friday. There are some assignments that might be due on Thursday, but most are due on Friday. I do not allow emailed work, and please do not procrastinate. I do want to mention that the highest of the 3 midterm scores will replace the lowest score, but this does not include the final exam. So for instance, let's say you get 100% on the first midterm, a 90 on the second midterm, and a 95 on the third midterm. So the lowest is a 90, and the highest is 100. So then the 100, the 90, and 95 will turn into 100, 100, 95. Okay, summary of class rules and guidelines. I'll let you guys go ahead and read through this. A lot of this is a summary. I will use the Canvas gradebook, so that'll help you keep track of your grades. Please read this academic and dishonesty policy. Well, sorry, it's the plagiarism and academic dishonesty policy. Basically, don't cheat. I gave you some information on textbook reflection and student success strategies, especially because some of the information in this textbook can be quite abstract. The atmosphere can be a little bit challenging to understand. Golden rules for college success, extra resources, for example, for Canvas, special services. I talk about the attendance policy, religious holidays, etc., etc. And then, because I have a lot of students coming directly from high school, or even students that have been out of school for a long time and their last class was a high school course, I use this article from Dr. Appleby that talks about the differences between high school and college. So go ahead and read that. And one thing I want to point out is high school classes, you tend to learn a lot of the material in the class, but college courses, you tend to learn the material outside of the class. And there's a lot less hand-holding in college than there is in high school. Now, I do point out here at the bottom on page 15 that I do try to help each student as much as possible, especially since some students may need more support. You know, Pierce College is a community college, so there's some extra help sometimes and student success strategies that need to be used to help all students succeed. But this is still a college level course and it must be rigorous. And in addition to that, I need to have certain ground rules and other types of criteria that meet an exact college course. Now, if you're at a university and take a course like this, it could truly be what we call a sink or swim situation, but I want to be able to help you guys as much as I can. I have 200 students usually, so unfortunately I can't help everyone right away. But if you reach out to me and let me know you're struggling, that's the best way for me to try to understand what I need to help you succeed in this class. And that's the gist of the syllabus, keeping in mind that at the end of week 2, we will have a syllabus quiz. Okay. The next announcement focuses on course policies. Now, the course policies are also in the syllabus, but I thought I would have a separate document to highlight some of these. So, if you've read the syllabus, then you know a lot of this material already. You can look at my class philosophy, which I talked about just a little bit in the syllabus. Communication policies. If you email me, please put your name and the subject somewhere in that email, and allow 24 hours. If you don't hear back from me within that time frame, maybe send me another email, unless it's the weekend, which will take probably longer. Email etiquette. Don't write a message when you're frustrated or angry, because that could result in a poorly written message that might be ignored. So please try to be constructive and professional, and I will also try to be constructive and professional when emailing students. So respect, courtesy, all that stuff is a two-way street when it comes to my courses. Drop policies, we talked about that a little bit. I want to emphasize this once again. You must get the first assignment done in time unless you want to be dropped from the course. I don't really allow any late work, so please again read these late work policies. Okay? And that's what the course policies announcements is all about. I also have the announcement about the first week assignment and discussion post. I'm going to wait and talk about that when I get into the modules. And of course, depending on when you're watching this video, you may or may not see the introductory video on Canvas. I plan on posting it along with your first week assignment, but I may repost it for students who I add later that are on the wait list. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to modules. And I want to point out once more, just like with the announcements, the modules that you have are going to be a little bit different than the modules that I have. The first module in this course is really focused on Canvas. So you might want to go ahead, especially if you're new to Canvas, look at some of these links that give you a great tutorial on Canvas and even show you how to use Canvas on your mobile phone. The next module is this introductory video, and you probably won't see the word update because I'm currently updating that video right now. The next one is on class resources. You can find that welcome letter, the syllabus, course policies on there. Those are posted also in the announcements. Also additional links like testing whether or not you'll be a good online student, ethical online communication, etc. Now, the field trip hasn't been set up yet, so I'm going to go ahead and close that. So for week 1, give you information about what you need to do for week 1. And here's your first week assignment. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up and discuss. So your first assignment is a discussion post, and it will consist of 2 parts. The first part here, I want you to please describe yourself in some way. You can include a background on your life. You can explain why you're taking this course, maybe some hobbies, interests, how you feel about taking an online course. This part must be at least 2 paragraphs. Each paragraph has to be at least 5 sentences and must be free of spelling and grammar errors. And I have a link here that discusses what it takes to be an online student. The second part will ask you to describe a severe and hazardous weather event that may have impacted you or somebody you know. And in order to get started on what that might be, severe and hazardous weather will include thunderstorms, tornadoes, hurricanes, hailstorms, lightning, downbursts, floods, drought, extreme heat, and Santa Ana winds, or some other kind of mountain windstorm, and even blizzards. Now, do not talk about earthquakes, volcanoes, and tsunamis, because those are technically geologic events and not weather-related events. To give you a little bit more information, you might want to watch my what I call the Chapter 0 video that gives you some examples of severe and hazardous weather and defines what what that is as well. So the second part must be at least 2 paragraphs, at least 5 sentences in each paragraph, and please have no spelling or grammar errors. And I will get rid of this update lecture below because I had already done that. So your first assignment, you're going to have 4 paragraphs, 2 for this first part, 2 for the second part. And please make sure you put all of it in one discussion post. It all goes in one discussion post. I have a rubric attached to this. So let's take a look at this rubric. I'm going to go out of this assignment, go back to modules, go down to week 1, and underneath the assignment is the rubric. Now I have it open already, so I'm going to go ahead and open it here. So you might want to look at this and see what it takes to get what I call the excellent score. You must successfully and with detail address this question by explaining a little bit about your life. And this is the first part, and this is 2 paragraphs, at least 5 sentences in each paragraph, without spelling and grammar errors. Now the second part will discuss how a severe hazardous weather event, or just in general, how has severe hazardous weather impacted your life. It could be in California, especially if you talk about the drought, if you talk about heat, if you talk about a thunderstorm, if you talk about Santa Ana winds. Those are some of the most common severe hazardous weather events in California. Or let's say you traveled somewhere else and you experienced a different kind of severe and hazardous weather event. Please discuss that in 2 paragraphs, with each paragraph at least 5 sentences and without spelling and grammar errors. So in your first post, you're going to have 2 paragraphs for the first part and 2 paragraphs for the second part. And then eventually, when it comes to week 2, I will add more and more information. Week 2 will consist of lectures and videos. Then we'll have a content quiz at the end and a syllabus quiz as well. Week 3, just to give you a little bit of a preview, we'll get into another discussion post and our first met-ed assignment, which I'll get into in week 3. And then week 4 will be your first midterm exam. So I think this is a good start for you guys. Please let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you next time. Thank you.